What is going on, Nuggets Nation NBA fans? My name is Tom Leuthner, and welcome back to another episode of Nuggets Today, brought to you by Underdog. If you guys are new here, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you guys do enjoy the content, as well as leave a comment down below if you guys want me to cover anything. If you guys are returning, thank you guys for the constant support. If you guys did not know by now, we are sponsored by Underdog officially, so make sure to go ahead and download the Underdog app. And we're going to have a little bit of a promo in a little while, but a few things I want to cover before that. And one thing being the fact that the Brooklyn Nets guaranteed contracts for Jalen Wilson and Tyrese Martin. Now, these are two players who are on the younger side and can be very good fits for the Denver Nuggets. Now, them guaranteeing the contracts means that there is potential for them to be bought out, which, like I said, I would love either player on the team. Now, Jalen Wilson is a younger player. He is 25 years old. He's a former second-round pick back in 2023, so not too long ago. You look at his stats. Last year, the 24-25 season, he was averaging 9.5 points per game. The only thing is that his splits they weren't too good, 48% from the field, 33 to 34% from the three-point line on 4.6 attempts, but he was also not playing on the best team in the world, so that could easily change playing alongside a guy by the name of Nikola Jokic, who is one of the best playmakers, if not the best playmaker in the NBA. Now, like I said, he's not the only one who was guaranteed a contract. Tyrese Martin is another guy who was guaranteed a contract, which means that he could also be bought out. Now, he's 26 years old, another former second-round pick back in 2022. His stats, I feel like, are around the same. 2024-25, 8.7 points per game. He was shooting 49% from the field, 35% from the three-point line, so a little bit of a better shooter. And I think that they could both be good pickups for the Denver Nuggets. I think that the only thing that's stopping the Denver Nuggets is bringing anybody in if they are bought out. And it's also not set in stone that they will be bought out. I was talking to Nets Press over on Instagram. Give him a follow. Super cool guy. We had the conversation on what we think the Nets are going to do, and it was really brought up that there's potential to buy these two players out because the Brooklyn Nets are a young team who are looking to maybe cash in on those picks at some point. So both players could potentially be bought out, both younger players. The Denver Nuggets could easily use both of them, in my opinion. Tyrese Martin has a very interesting game. He is a ball handler, but he's also a little bit of a forward, which I sort of like. We do see a lot of that right now with the Denver Nuggets' current team. He is 6'6", so he'd probably slide in around the shooting guard, which I know that there's a little bit of an overabundance at right now. But like I said, nothing is set in stone on if the Denver Nuggets would even have the opportunity because they are not bought out yet. Now, the next player I want to talk about is somebody who I don't know if you guys pay attention to a lot of the reports that come out, because I definitely do. I sit on Twitter all day and study, and one of the reports is that the Toronto Raptors want to move Ochai Agbaji as well as a second-round pick in order to not go into the deeper into the tax than they already are. Now, he's a good player. He's a wing. He plays this year. He's only playing 15.8 minutes per game. The 30 games played. He's struggling a little bit when it comes to the shooting. 41.8 from the field, 17.1 from the three-point line, which is, again, not great. He is only averaging 4.2 points per game. But you look at last year's stats, and he shot 39.9% from the three-point line in 64 games, where he averaged 10.4 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.9 steals, 0.9 steals, 0.5 blocks per game. He's a defensive menace. He is a wing. This is a great opportunity for Denver to go ahead and pick him up, and he would be a rental. So I think that's even better for the Denver Nuggets if you're able to look at it where he's a rental contract. He's not, I believe he's making $6 million. You'd have to maybe move one or two guys, but I think that the Toronto Raptors just want to get off of it. So if you want to move two guys, you can move Strother and Pickett. You can move Strother and Tyson. You can move Pickett and Tyson. You can move any duo, realistically, of those two players who you can get off of contract. It allows the Toronto Raptors to have $2 million opened up, and you're able to get a guy on Denver who can be a defensive menace and go along, I think, with this Nuggets team very well. Now, before we continue, I do want to give a quick word from our sponsor. Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Today on Underdog, I'm looking at one specific game, and that is going to be the New York Knicks, who I know I've brought up in the past. And I think that Jalen Brunson is going to have a little bit of a comeback game, so I'm going to go higher than 28.5 points. And I'm also going to go with Dylan Brooks, who's been a little bit of a villain this year, and I'm going to go higher than 19.5 points. Now, if you download the app today and use promo code BASKETBALLFAN to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BASKETBALLFAN. Underdog, make picks, win money. Now, I want to continue talking about Underdog, and I want to go ahead and give you guys a new segment brought to you by Underdog, and that is going to be breaking down a player and his profile. And there's no higher or lower picks officially out for Peyton Watson right now or at the time of this recording. So I do want to break down his last few games and just how well he has been playing, and potentially talk about what higher or lower picks I want to take. Peyton Watson has been a stud, and there's a reason I'm not talking about him right now in this episode, and that is because of this segment. Now, he's somebody I would love to talk about. I said it last episode. I feel like all I've been doing is covering Peyton Watson, and you look at his stretch of games. 5 straight games of him dominating for this Denver Nuggets team. 30 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists in the Wednesday win over Boston. We know that he dominated. We know he's a player that Denver wants to attempt to bring back this offseason. We know that he is a guy who can just get it done at every level. I said the one thing I needed from Peyton Watson this offseason was for him to become Derrick Jones Jr., and you know what he did? He's become a off-brand, value brand Kevin Durant in some sort. So I think that if you are going to look to put in an entry for this Denver Nuggets game and you do want to support the Denver Nuggets, my first guess, regardless of injury and concerns for the Denver Nuggets, would be higher when it comes to Peyton Watson's points. Now, I'm no genius, but if you look at this stretch, 30 points, 24 points, 23 points, 21 points, 24 points. Like I said, I don't know the exact, projection of what his higher or lower is going to be, but I would take the higher. I'm very confident in Peyton Watson being able to dominate in the points category just because I do think that Christian Braun has been struggling. He's a guy who we've seen sort of take a back step in the offensive versatility and ability that we used to be able to see from him, and Peyton Watson has been a ball handler. He has been a guy, like I said, scores at every single level. Defensively, he has been a monster. And the one thing that I think he's been contributing to the most for the Denver Nuggets has been his rebounding. It is one of the key things I talk about. Now, 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 4 rebounds, 8 rebounds in his last 5 games. If I had to assume, which I know is not the best thing in the world, I would probably assume that his higher or lower is around 4 to 5 rebounds per game, or 4.5 to 5.5 rebounds per game. And if I were you guys, my opinion, I'm not going to say that it's going to happen, but I would also go with the higher in the rebounded category for Peyton Watson. I think that he's been able to do every single thing the Denver Nuggets need him to do. He has been a guy who's attacking the paint, and with the smaller team that Denver's still rolling out with, he is going to be able to attack the paint. He is going to be able to continue to prove himself, especially with players coming back from injury. The last thing I had seen for the Denver Nuggets injury report is the fact that I believe Christian Braun and Aaron Gordon are both probable, which means that Peyton Watson is going to have to fight for his minutes and earn his minutes. That is why when it comes to his line, I am going to take the over, or take the higher rather, not the over, the higher rather, in both stat categories. So make sure to use code BASKETBALLFAN in your first deposit if you are a new user for Underdog. And thank you again to Underdog for sponsoring this episode. Now, one of my favorite topics in this entire podcast that I've ever done is a community talk topic, and I want to get into two comments that I've seen in the last few episodes. The first one being from Miles Forgone, where he was talking about Peyton Watson the last 2 games, and that he beats him, gets besides himself and he gets tunnel vision and you don't want to see him as a ball handler and all this stuff. I have to say, I'm in the complete opposite boat. Now, do I get frustrated when Peyton Watson messes up? Of course I do. Anybody would. He's a forward dribbling the ball. But we've seen so much out of him that I fully almost disagree with the entire comment here, because without his ball handling, this Denver Nuggets team's not where it's at right now. Without his scoring from every single level, the Denver Nuggets are not winning games without Nikola Jokic and Jonas Valanciunas. So to sit here and blame him for losses, I think is crazy. You know what? Listen, I got very upset with the missed three-pointer, a few, when Jokic was still healthy, the game winner. You get upset with that kind of thing, and I understand it. But I also understand the level of, pressure and I don't know if I want to say nervousness that would make you feel as an NBA player, especially a pro who's been proving himself. But to get upset about that, I understand. But to say that he's losing us games, like I just said in the last topic, go look at the stretch of the last 5 games. Without him putting up 20 plus, Denver's nowhere close to where they are. And I'm all in the boat right now of potentially moving CB if that opens up the extension for Peyton Watson, because I think that he does more. If we want to talk about people losing us games, we go look at CB not doing anything at the beginning of the season, and even now when he's coming back for the last 2 games, which I know is a smaller sample size. So I think the comment's a little crazy. I understand where you're coming from, but I'm also going to fully disagree with you in my opinion. This is only my opinion. I'm not saying that this is the right or wrong thing, but I do disagree in the fact that, listen, he's going to dribble. You need that kind of player, especially in today's NBA. You have guys who are 6'7", 6'6", 6'8", dribbling the ball. You look at the Brooklyn Nets, Yegor Dioman. You look at the Los Angeles Lakers. You have Luka Doncic. You look at even Austin Reeves. You look at the Detroit Pistons. Kate Cunningham's up there also. So for him to handle the ball is no problem for me. I think that it also opens a lot more up for this Denver Nuggets team offensively, because now you have to guard a wing who can handle the ball. The next comment I want to talk about is, I think it's Martin commented, I don't know if it was the last episode or 2 episodes ago, but talking about potentially calling up Moses Brown and Kessler Edwards. And another thing that I do agree with, I think that there is a restriction on Moses Brown that he can't be called up until a certain date. I could be wrong about that, but I do sort of agree where I would love to see a world where the Denver Nuggets let these 2 young players get minutes. Like I said, I think there might be some restriction that I'm not 100% well versed on, and I have to look back and really think about, or figure out if that is something that's restricting the Denver Nuggets from doing that. But it's also tough when you don't want to drop anybody they trust, Hunter Tyson right now, to play. I think it would have to be 10-day contracts, which I know that the Denver Nuggets said that they wanted to steer away from just because of cap reasons. Now, the last thing I do want to talk about in this episode is the Denver Nuggets taking on a Trae Youngless now Atlanta Hawks, a team that has been pretty good in the Eastern Conference. They're nothing crazy this year, but I don't know. That move was the most interesting move I've ever seen. You got Trae Young for almost a bag of chips. It felt like it was something that I didn't expect, really. I knew that it was going to happen. Listen, I expected the players, but to not have a single pick thrown in with one of the best point guards in the NBA to me is a little nuts. And I know that his defense is lacking, but at the same time, I think he's 2nd or 3rd in assists in the NBA in the last 2 years. He has been amazing as a point guard. He really has. And like I said, the defense I get, but to give CJ McCollum, I believe, is on an expiring contract, so that doesn't really matter. Somebody who I actually want the Denver Nuggets to get. And Corey Kispert, I just don't think is worth it. I really don't. I know it's crazy to say. People are going to disagree with me here because people hate Trae Young, and I get it. But I don't know. I'm in the boat of that was a nuts trade. So hopefully the Denver Nuggets can take advantage of them not having full chemistry yet and having to work around Jalen Johnson, who has really just been one of the best players in the entire NBA this season. But that is all I got for you guys today, Nuggets Nation. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Like I said, comment down below if you guys want me to cover anything. I love doing the community talk episodes, so please get more comments down below that we could get rolling in for the community talk episodes. And again, huge shout out to Underdog for sponsoring this episode. I will catch you guys tomorrow.